Line's good. Line's good. Good to go. Make sure we get deep. As far as you can. Looks like it's running pretty good.
Yeah.
Good speed, boys. 16-8. Line. Way on late. Little bit room. Room. Rawson. Clean, clean. Yep. Yep. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. Judge, boys. 15 and a half.
En nog geen plaats. Jullie goed besser. Sven, Karf. Hard, hard, hard. Oké. 15-0.
I think you can make the double and the roll. Eight. Eleven and a half, 11. 11. Clean. Yep. Clean. Yep. Whoa. Clean. Go.
Und sonst ist das. Gut. Ich würde es aber so durchnehmen. Gut. Raus. Yep. Wow. Wow, girl. 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 11 and a half. 11 and a half.
Clean. 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 Clean.
On de banden!
It's 11-5.
Linie gut! Linie gut!
No, Craig.
Achtung! Linie gut! Achtung! Gun! 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 Hard! Hard! Hard. 4-6. Ja.
I think that ice for 12 though. Like, I think. Yep. Whoa, whoa. Whoa. Yep. Oh, you catch it thinner, you got more to roll to. 11-3 you got it. I thought he might play the double. I thought he might play the double. Stuff is home one there and.
Hard! 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 Hard!
Wide off the other one. No, you and that one's still in it. No, it is, I know that, but right now we can make it double because of where that red is. I don't mind leaving it and letting him make a move on it. No? I feel like we make a move. Are you thinking about him
Carson
rolling all the way?
vind ik niet goed.
I don't think you have to roll that far. I think if you check, like just like check head before he makes a double, you should have a double back for two.
Hoeveel zeggen?
Do we need to roll as far as that if you're trying to roll off that one? If you roll to like edge of 4 off this one, you might have a double. Yeah. No, I'm just saying if he wants to play off the back one.
We zijn schon mal überlegen, das ist gut. Ja.
I missed what he said there. No? Is that enough to roll as far as that?
Und da intern rauf, die Hits haben sie jetzt ein paar Mal gespielt und die haben einfach recht kontrolliert. Sie geben es aber auch +2. Ja. Ja. Sobald er bis zu der Center ist.
Clean. 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 Clean.
Ja. Wir dürfen einfach den Shooter nicht verlieren. sonst fressen wir die jetzt, oder? Das da.
I wondered if we just like checked edge of 4 and then
Ja, aber dann
like
ist
they make
beides
the
weg,
double that
alles
kind of
weg.
around up there,
Und
you
dann
might
gehst du
get a chance to get it underneath the yellow.
Und dann ist der
No,
Voll.
easy.
Komm
I
mal,
thought
Kim.
with gears, like if you didn't
Ich weiß
go
nicht,
as
ob ich
far,
überzeugt bin von
kind of
dem.
left in the open,
Wenn
like
wir
you're always
im
gonna have like a slash
Dach
double.
spielen wir noch.
If you're nutted it,
Wir
you're
müssen
gonna have a
schon
slash
gut
double.
diskutieren. Machen wir's. Ja. Ja, du bist aber hier liegen.
I don't think if I get one of it, I just throw them back. It's like where how tight those are, it's quite hard to get the middle one
Schwierig für
coming down this way. It kind of
dass
almost
es
is
wenig
always going
gut
to
ist, oder?
drag it out.
Ja. Ja.
Like, you almost have to be too thin that you might end up flirting with not touching that.
Ja. Ja. Weißt du, auch wenn wir so etwas machen und das rollt, ist nicht worse. So. Aber wir schauen, dass wir mit dem Shooter Säckel bleiben, oder? Ja. Danny. Intern. Was ist das? 2 Drittel? Ja? Was wollen wir treffen? 2 Drittel?
There is finished late. Like, 11 and a half here finished late. Like I was sitting clean for a lot really just because like those moves and like that one there as well. And not even mine, my first one.
That one there, the second one, Carl did a 10-2.
I haven't seen how everything's run into the corner so far. So like,
Whoa! Close! Close! Yep! Hard! Hard! Hard!
for the high, yeah. Yep. Nose is really close. I think you don't kill this. You might flick it, but I don't think you kill it. I think nose you probably even go clean actually. Nose to sliver high.
Aye. Nu.
Easy. Shouldn't do too much for you here, Ross.
Das ist gut gespielt. Das ist ein Touch, wenn ich gieße. Hoffentlich.
Whoa. Carl. Carl. Hi, Carl.
Gang.
Really got to move it. Sweet.
Aber nicht einfach das vorbei, oder? Aber das kann man umgehen. Ja, aber brauchen wir. Kann man nicht da gehen? Da?
That makes me think that's got to draw in a really good spot.
Vielleicht am einfach. Es ist so schwierig, im Kartoffel anzulegen. Also, dann müssten wir es so spielen. Eben. Ja. Also, dann macht er 3, aber. So, wenn du das spielst und so rübergehst und das da rüber gut. Eben. Also das Tap oder was? Ja. muss auch festsetzen.
Because you can't go right around the corner, because you just chase the two.
Nochmal 10.
Quite hard to go over here and put it in a good spot without losing a double.
You want to throw it key line.
I wondered if you had to go like top 8 and we kind of leave you a slash, so the max was ever 2, yeah. Might get a chance on this. Overcurled the last one, might overcorrect.
Close. Yep. Yep. Whoa. Close. Yep. Right.
10? Yep. Just throw like an 8. You weren't far off what you actually just threw there. I think you were 7-8 I caught you out in the last one. I think you're throwing it out. What weight do you see? Okay. Yep. Should curl up a hair. I like it, man.
Nej. Drar mig säkert i spår.
Whoa. Close. Whoa. Close. Yep. Whoa. Whoa. Curl. Curl.
Slide Ross.
Right. Ja. Hey, die Länge über.
Good end, boys.
Alles gut. Alles gut.
Finished quite expect. Didn't finish quite as much as I expected it to.
Machen wir die easy first. Holen wir das mit Plenty heute dominieren.
Ja.
Mit dem
Vorne
ganzen
rein.
geile Ja, guter Shot machen. Da, kill. Ja. Ja, aber er ist schon ein bisschen Schäpps rausgekommen. Er hat verdammt müssen korrigieren.
Line's close. Line's close. Line's good. A little bit of room. Curl if you can. Good judge, boys.
Warte! Carle!
Welcome, welcome, curling fans. It's the late lunch draw here at the 25th edition of the BADEN Masters. It's our 25th birthday. Happy birthday, us. We are watching sheet 2, and oh boy, do we have a peach for late lunch curling for you today. It is a early doors, but top of the table clash. Both of these teams have won their first 2 games. We are watching the one, the only, it's the most popular man in curling, Yves Stocker from Switzerland, and they are playing team Whyte from Scotland. Now, we're going to have to concentrate here, gang. There are 2 people on the ice wearing borrowed uniforms. You'll notice all 8 are wearing kind of black and red uniforms, so it's complicated enough. There are 2 people wearing borrowed uniforms. There are 4 people playing out of their normal position. So we're going to say hello to these confusing constellations in just a second.
Really good. Easy, easy.
Everybody was ready a little bit early, ahead of 2:30, and we have 5 draws today. This is the 3rd out of 5. So nobody minds if the ice is ready, the players are ready, and off they went. So hopefully they've saved themselves 5 or 10 minutes for the inevitable jibber jabber later on. In addition to our featured game here, on sheet 1 on the left side of your screen, you see the mighty figure of Amos Mazzana, and it is the Italian team, skipped by Joel Retornaz. They are playing Lucas Klima's team from Czech Republic. And the Czechs only played 1 game so far. They played this morning and they lost that, and the Italians as well. They played yesterday evening and they had the morning off, and both of those teams, they lost their first game, so both of them playing catch up. On sheet 3, on the other side of us, we have team Luethold of Switzerland put up a very brave performance against world champions and defending champions Mouat's team this morning, and they are playing team China, skipped by, oh gosh, let me try and pronounce this again, Xiaoming Zhu of China, and they also had a spirited performance this morning. We watched their game against Gosgens. They also ran into Mouat in top form yesterday evening, but they won their game against the Netherlands this morning, and they will be looking to build on that against the young Swiss team, and indeed they scored a 3 in their first end. And finally on sheet 4, we have the aforementioned Netherlands team, skipped by Waddell. They are up against the Norwegian team, Team Ramsfjell, one of 2 Norwegian representatives at the competition this year, but they are minus a Ramsfjell, and conveniently for them, they have previous champion and general all-round good curler, Stefan Wallstad, skipping instead of Magnus Ramsfjell. The most famous hat in curling, it is Stefan Wallstad's beanie with the man himself underneath.
I got you a good bit on side on that one compared to the first one and managed to back it up a good chunk.
You'll see from the scoreboard that in that first end, it was quite a makeable shot for Whyte, but just, well, I was going to say he caught it too thin and caught it so thin that he didn't actually connect with both the red stones, so that was a bit of an unexpected steal for the Swiss. And here in the second end in our featured game, you can see Scotland setting up pretty nicely. Those guards a little bit further towards the side than ideal, but that keeps the game away from centre, and that's their objective. We are on the 3rd out of 5 draws today. earlier on at 11 o'clock. We had the other two groups. We have 4 groups of 5 teams each. Each team plays 4 games. And obviously the 5th team in each group has a game off. And previously at 11 o'clock, it was groups C and E were playing. We had an all-Scottish affair on sheet 2. That was Kyle Waddell's team against Oren Carson, the up-and-coming junior men's bronze medalists, and it was the more experienced team of Kyle Waddell that won in the end, but a really tight battle out there. It looked like a binary code up until the 8th end, when Kyle Waddell's team finished things off with the big 3. And on sheet 1, which you can watch now, viewer, for the first time we are covering all sheets. There is no more radio silence over on sheet 1. You can watch it yourself if you like. But on sheet 1, it was Edin from Sweden playing the Swiss champions, Yannick Schwaller from Switzerland. Both of them already know they will be representing at Olympics. And it was Schwaller's team who got the win, 7-5, after a big score of 4 in the 7th end. So Edin's team in the unfamiliar position of being 0 for 2 at the moment. But they're champions. I would not be surprised if we still see them later in the weekend, but they've given themselves a bit of a mountain to climb. And in Group D, a lunch, well, early lunch, the 11 o'clock draw. It was the European champions, Muskatewitz, just quietly going around being very good. They had a win against our second Norwegian team here, skipped by Buraas. And I must check how that's properly pronounced. And it was the European champions who won 10 points to 4. And the final game this morning, or early lunch this morning at 11, that was the current junior men's world champions, Team Schwaller from Italy. They were playing the current Swiss vice champions, Hoesli's team. And it was the Swiss who ran out 6-5 winners. But a close game there as well. So Stocker's team getting a little bit of luck in the first end. I'm not sure they can rely on that for the whole game. But their objective for the second end, it is still Whyte's team from Scotland who have final stone, last stone. And early doors yet. The Swiss are 1 ahead. So their objective in the second end is really to prevent Scotland from scoring big. And in curling world, scoring big is 2 or more. And Marco's done that very nicely. We will say hello to the teams at the conclusion of this end. And as I said, you're going to have to concentrate on this one, gang. Everyone's wearing the same uniform. 2 people are borrowing a uniform, and 4 people are playing out of position. But apart from that, we've got it. We play 8 ends in Baden. If we are tied, if scores are tied after 8 ends, we will play an extra end. Haven't had one so far. And we really don't want an extra end on the Friday when we have 5 draws. But like I said, all these games, everyone was ready, the ice was ready, so all these games started 5 or 10 minutes early, so they've saved themselves a little bit of time.
Really gotta go.
That's more like it from Whyte. kind of thing he was after in the first end, but didn't quite make it, but no mistake there. I think that yellow, though, on the edge of the rings, I don't think that's in the rings, in which case I imagine the Swiss simply keen to remove that one yellow, sitting pretty much in the middle.
Clean. Yep. Oh. Yep. Oh. Oh. Girl. 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 Sehr gut.
I think that's just out of the rings. We have a good angle from the overhead camera. That could have been a big problem for Whyte had that red just hung on. But I don't think it has. From our angle, I think there is nothing in the house. And at this early stage, I fancy we will see Whyte just playing this stone through and save last stone for the third end. So never wasting a stone. There's nothing to hit, there's nothing to do with this stone, but they just sent it down a different path, and you'll see everybody just keeping an eye on that. They can learn something even with a stone that doesn't really do anything. Everyone having a look at that red. Are they going to measure it? That would make a difference. A score of 2-0 instead of 1-0. And all of a sudden you need a score of 2 to level things up rather than just 1. Looks like they are going to measure it. I don't think it's in, but this is a high level competition, so they're doing the right thing if they're in any doubt. So this is a special measure, the 6-foot measure. It is a binary decision. If the stone touches the edge of this measuring stick, it's in. If it doesn't touch, it's out. We will, well, I was about to say we shall soon find out. Not necessarily. I think we need to do some scoreboard training before next competition. Marco's all about the iPad score system. That was a blank. That red was not within the rings. So as you were, that nice double takeout from Whyte with his first throw, setting up a blank in this second end of our featured game. And it will be again Whyte's team with last stone in the third end. So let's say hello to the teams. As I said, thinking caps on for this one. In the hack is the most popular man in curling. It's Yves Stocker. I hope the Stocker army will be supporting. They might have to have a job or something, so let's see if they're able to join. But Yves throwing lead for this weekend. He is coming back from knee surgery, which is always pretty serious. He was out most of last season and coming back from that surgery. So it's Yves throwing first, throwing lead, but he is still skipping. Second is Felix Eberhardt. Third is Kim Schwaller, and fourth is new signing for the Stocker rink is Marco Hefty. And their opposition is Team Whyte from Scotland. Throwing lead is Ewan Kyle. Second, we have a substitute. We have Craig Waddell throwing second this weekend in that team. Third and skip is Robin Bryden. And fourth thrower is Whyte. So I'm just going to say that again because it was quite unexpected compared with our usual lineups. So for the Swiss, lead and skip is Yves Stocker, second is Felix Eberhardt, third is Kim Schwaller, fourth is Marco Hefti. For Ross Whyte's team from Scotland, lead is Ewan Kyle, second is Craig Waddell, third and skip is Robin Bryden, fourth thrower is Ross Whyte. Right, what's going on? So, Robin Bryden, he is also recovering. He is rehabilitating a shoulder injury. So, full power sweeping is still to be avoided for him, and that is why Robin is skipping for this weekend, but maintaining their usual throwing position. So Robin's still throwing third and Ross still throwing fourth, but it is Robin who will be skipped for this competition. And to that end, I asked Craig Waddell, you can see there, look, there's Ross Whyte sweeping a stone. Watch this. You don't see that very often. And I asked Craig Waddell, what's it like sweeping with Ross? Is he any good? And Craig diplomatically said he's pretty good for a skip, which I thought was a nice thing to see. So not often you get to see Ross Whyte sweeping stones like that. But that's why Robin Bryden is recovering from shoulder injury, and better for him not to sweep all weekend. Yves Stocker in your picture, he is recovering from knee surgery, and that is why he is throwing lead stones out there. Now you were right, viewer, Craig Waddell. You say to yourself, that's quite a familiar name. Yes, it is. His brother Kyle, in fact, his team are also playing here. We saw them at 11 o'clock playing Oren Carson's young team from Scotland.
11.5, 12.
And they have Mark Watt subbing into the Waddell team. And Craig is being lent out to Ross Whyte's team. So it's Duncan McFadden is not here this weekend, so we can blame him for all of these lineup changes. So that is Craig Waddell in the hack, borrowing the uniform of Ewan Kyle for the weekend.
Clean, clean, clean. Help, help, help.
It's really warm outside here, at least. It's 31 degrees, which is 88 Fahrenheit, something like that. So it's really warm outside. And always a challenge, making top quality ice. Our ice chief, Jamie, he is busy all weekend. But the ice has looked pretty nice from where we are. Ooh, that is not quite what Felix was after there. Ay, ay, ay.
Try and get this side of it.
In fact, unfortunately, that sort of made everything worse. Now you have 3 Scotland stones with decent separation, and that's pretty much what Scotland would like.
D-line, like this one.
This is a top of the table clash. Both of these teams have played 2-1-2 in slightly different fashions, I must say. Yesterday, Yves' team playing against Retornaz from Italy, And that was a super game for the neutral. That went backwards and forwards, lots of stones in play, lots of big, exciting shots. And it was finally the Swiss who triumphed 7-5. And they played Marco Pfister's team representing Philippines this morning. And after a bit of a dozy start, truthfully, if you were listening, you might have heard me say, well, they need to pull themselves together immediately. And viewer, they did. And they were quite dominant winners finally, 10 points to 5 over Mark Pfister's team. So that's how Yves Stalker's team has won 2 out of 2. Ross Whyte's team, slightly different path for them. They played Lukas Klima's team from Czechia yesterday evening. They won 8-2 in 5 ends. They played Klima this morning, and they were 8-2 in 5 ends. They played Mark Pfister's Philippines rink last night, and they were 12-3 in 5 ends. So a rather imperious march to the top of the table for them. But nevertheless, whoever wins this game, they will be on 3 wins out of 3, and that is, I think that has always been enough to get you to the quarter-final. So we may have our first qualifiers for the quarter-final already after this game. Stalker's team in a bit of trouble here in this third end.
Curl if you can.
They just need to keep removing stuff. But the Scots very canny with their stone placement. 1, 2, 3 yellows, all miles apart. Very difficult double takeouts here.
Stanny! Genau. Stanny! Da! Wird schnell. Dann nun.
Not sure what that hand signal means. From Ross Whyte there. I know the Scottish teams are always very strong with their communication, and maybe they've invented some sort of new sign language. I wouldn't be surprised. So Kim Schwaller being asked for a precise hit and roll. Try to, remove that yellow that uses brush and roll over in front of the yellow on the right side of our screen. What a signing Kim Schwaller has proven to be. He was new in the team last season. Doing all kinds of good work. Oh, I think does he just manage to catch enough of that yellow? Oh, I think so. If you look in the bottom corner, I think that was actually a double removal, let's say. That yellow is still in play, but I think from our angle, it looks like that yellow is now out of the rings. So a happy result again there for Kim Schwaller. He's been a great signing for Yves' team. He is the younger brother of Yannick Schwaller. So you could say to yourself, oh yeah, like let's get a Schwaller in the team. They're bound to be good, and that's not a terrible idea. But Kim doing a lot of good work in the team since last season. He was 5th man with his brother at the World Championships. And another new signing this year is Marco Hefti, standing next to Yves by the scoreboard there. Marco started off playing with Marco Hoesli's team from Glarus. I learned that Hefti is a very common surname in Glarus, and not all Heftis are related. So Marco starting off playing with Marco Hoesli's team. He spent a bit of time throwing 4th stones for Jan Iseli's team. So he's pretty experienced these days with throwing fourth, and that's exactly what's being asked of him this weekend. And he's done a pretty nice job so far. Looking confident. Eves' team, the current bronze medalists at Swiss Championships. Eves himself not playing due to the knee surgery, and they conveniently were able to call on Jan Hess to come and fill in. A handy super sub to get a hold of.
Okay. Hello, Blood. Felix. Felix. Hard. Hard. Hard.
So just sweeping for the curl here. You can see Felix really putting all of his effort into that. And I think that's found a decent spot.
Certainly get out the 8 foot. I think you can get out the 8 foot, whether you're getting it past this one.
I'm not sure if Ross can see all of that red stone just thrown by Marco Hefti. He reckons he can. He needs to get round that centre guard and just get to the inside of that red.
I mean, that's the other option, is you try and play it off the yellow. What way do you see to make this? Okay. Back line just through probably. Yeah. Craig was 13 to the wing here.
Let's see how everyone else is getting on. Over on sheet 1, it is
really nice here for speed.
the perennial supporters of this competition. It's Team Retornaz of Italy. They were champions in 2023, 2 years ago. They lost their first game to Stoker yesterday evening. And they are against Klima of the Czech Republic, and it is the Italians who are 3-1 ahead after 3 ends. On sheet 3, we have Team Felix Luethold from Switzerland. They are playing Team Xiaoming Zhu from China. And it's the Chinese who are building on that strong performance this morning. We watched them against the Dutch team. It was China who won this morning, and it is China winning against Team Luethold of Switzerland 7 points to 0 after 3 ends. And finally on sheet 4,
Gotta get inside it. Gotta get inside
we have Team Ramsfjell being skipped by the man with the beanie, Stefan Wallstadt. They are playing Gosgens, Netherlands team, and including a blank, they are 1 each after 3 ends. We still have 2 more rounds today, 4 rounds tomorrow. Well, 3 rounds and a quarter final tomorrow, and semi and final on Sunday. That throw from Ross Whyte then, that's pretty much what he said he was going to do. That red getting a little bit lonely in there now. The angles are decent to keep that red a little bit safer, but I think the call is to get a second red in here. So it is still Kim that is the vice skip, as they've been playing. I think the normal constellation, let's say, is Felix at lead, Marco at second, Kim at third, and Eves at fourth. So that's why you'll still see Eves and Kim discussing things.
That's good call.
Yeah. Well. Den fall door.
This better be up, boys.
Hard. Hard. Hard.
Every inch. I think that's found a decent spot. It's not quite up as far as they wanted, but there's the view from the hack. It's found a decent spot, that red.
Yeah. Don't hate it. Like that.
Objectives in this third end. Same as the second, same as the first. Scotland's objective, they have last stone. They're throwing yellow. They would like to get a score of 2 or more. Eve's team throwing red. They would like to avoid Scotland getting a score of 2 or more. That's the overhead view.
I'm just wondering, like, if you go for this and you ever flick this, it's probably coming in for 2 anyway.
And this is why it was a good idea to start 5 or 10 minutes early.
Half stone.
The later this game goes on, typically the more chat is needed.
Yep.
But that's the shot that Rosso immediately is using his own yellow there. Catch that yellow at an angle and roll towards the centre. He wants to catch his own yellow in the centre and spring that red out the side.
Yep. Hard.
So he wants to just
Hard.
catch a little piece of this yellow and then roll towards the centre, just like that. And all of a sudden, that was last shot even, and that is a huge score of 3 yellow. That's a great shot from Ross Whyte. Nothing to lose. May as well try it. That was the first thing he saw, and he's made it perfectly. And the Swiss need to really knuckle down here. Not let the Scottish team get too far ahead. There we go. Just perfect angle on that, using his own yellow to come in and punch that red out the side. And yeah, that is 3 yellow. That final throw from Marco Hefti just coming up a little bit short, and that making a difference in the end.
I'm just thinking maybe the shoots like a touch out.
So I have to say, you can kind of feel that coming. Scotland have been setting up those ends nicely. But now, for the first time in the 4th end, it will be Yves Stocker's Swiss team that will have final last rock. Let's see what they do with it. You and Kyle there in your picture. He and Robin Bryden have just welcomed a little baby each into their family. First baby for both of them.
Line's good.
So if you see them looking a little bit tired, that's why. But actually they said, well, Robin said that his little one
14-9.
is already sleeping very well, even at just a few months old. And Ewan said, actually, all this travelling can be a good opportunity to catch up on some sleep, because he doesn't have a baby with him. But both of them saying they're really enjoying being fathers for the first time. We're in the 4th end of our featured game at BADEN Masters 2025. It's our 25th birthday. Happy birthday to us. We're watching Eve Stalker's team, the current bronze medalists from Swiss Championship, and they are up against the back-to-back Scottish champions, Ross Whyte.
Line's good, line's good.
Now, in most places, if you were back-to-back Scottish champion, or rather national champion, you would think you're doing pretty well there. You would think, yeah, we're pretty much on top, but as we know, Scotland is really quite a difficult country to stay on top of, curling-wise. And in fact, it is so tough to win the Scottish, to be the top team in Scotland, that in fact, overall, Ross Whyte's team are the second-ranked highest team from Scotland in the world listings, and of course the top-ranked team is Bruce Mouat's team by about 1 million miles, actually. So in fact, even though Ross Whyte's team are back-to-back Scottish champions, 2 in a row, it will be Bruce Mouat's team who will head to the Olympics. They are the silver medalists from last time. But finally, we will get to see Ross Whyte's team at a men's world championship. They will be representing Scotland at the Worlds, and goodness me, have they been waiting. They were ready to go to Worlds. They were qualified and ready to play in 2020. And then, of course, COVID came and we didn't have World Championships in 2020. And I've really felt kind of awful for Ross Whyte's team ever since. I feel like they had worked and deserved their spotlight and did not get their chance to shine in the sun or on the ice. So I am very happy for them. That I'm sure they will do a great job at World Championships for Scotland. Winning their first Grand Slam last year, and that bringing them to more people's attention as well. But yeah, they've really had the patience of Job, Ross Whyte's team. Goodness me, have they earned their opportunity now. But having said that, unless you are here for the very first time, you will know that I don't mind if they don't win this game, because Eves is my all-time favourite team. I would take a photo of that overhead, guys. That is a textbook setup for the first 5 stones in this 5-rock landscape. And Felix Eberhard probably looking to remove 2 of those yellows, just getting 1, and the consequence of that is no more corner guards for you. That corner guard is the only one that can hurt Scotland.
Yeah.
So if you're just joining us, we are approaching the halfway of our featured game. It is the most popular man in curling, Eve Stalker, versus the most how would we say, the most winning Scottish Championship team from Scotland, back-to-back Scottish champions, Ross Whyte's team.
Maybe a touch, but like even then, it just floats the whole. It kind of just floats the whole way.
We've had a whole bunch of our regulars here in the virtual club, watching in the virtual club room. If you want to say hello or show support for your favourite teams, or if you have a question, or if you just want to share some fun little curling facts, we love that sort of thing. So don't be shy. I can see James in the chat. Hello to you, James. Yeah, Fraser is coming from Scotland to Vetsikon Club. That's my home club. Very much looking forward to him starting. Danny Strife, our ice master of many, many years, retiring at least from ice mastering. So that last shot from Scotland didn't go perfectly, and that one's a bit better. That yellow towards the top of our screen, towards the sideline, there's a better view. That yellow so close to the sideline, it's guarding, I don't know, 2 or 3 centimetres of the rings. But still important that the Swiss keep on having 2 reds in play after each throw, give themselves a chance to put a big 2 back on the scoreboard. So Eve's just electing to replace that corner guard. Those 2 yellows on the centre line there, pretty close together, and Marco Hefti throwing fourth. He's borrowed Felix's uniform, so he's the one wearing a borrowed uniform. That's not Felix Eberhard, that is Marco Hefti, and he has been throwing very nicely all weekend. And he's probably saying to himself, yeah, I reckon I can get the pair of those yellows out with 1 throw. And that's why he is more keen on replacing that guard. But Ross Whyte just calling his bluff there and saying, all right then, I'm going to just go ahead and put a guard there as well. Techie Lass is looking forward to seeing Team Whyte at the Worlds. Yeah, I think most of us are. Techie Lass, I think it truly was just such a shame that they lost their opportunity. That's 5 years ago now. That's a long wait. And it is a good problem to have that Scotland has such strength in depth. All these teams kind of building the quality together. You need to be so good to be at the top in Scotland. So they all kind of force each other to get better and better. But everything has a price, and the price for Ross Whyte's team really has been quite high. They have waited a long time for their moment in the sun.
Finch 12, good. 12.
Well now, Ross Whyte calling Eve Stalker's bluff and also putting up a guard rather than removing that corner guard, as Eves maybe thought he would.
A foot or 2 more running, it's really good, but I thought we could have managed that here, but I thought we got distracted really early rather than just.
Oh! Girl! Girl! Girl!
I get something there.
So Kim Schwaller just being asked to remove one of those yellows, but again, that quiet wait and make sure his own red is hanging around, which it is.
I'm seeing.
12 eyes.
Oh, the easier one to call is just a straight hit and roll, right? 4, 8, 2, 3. 11. I don't mind the out. First shot was out. Okay. 11, it shouldn't really do anything crazy.
The game really getting slower and slower though.
Just a touch.
They started early and we're about to not be finished 4 ends at 3:30. So if this is how long the 4 ends take, I dread to think how long the 6th end is going to take. But I was having a chat to Ross's team before the game for exactly these little quiet moments. Just asking them how they were getting on. And as we said, Ewan on the left there and Robin in the head, both new fathers to human babies. And Ross, of course, if you look at Team Whyte's Instagram, Ross has a little furry baby, his little baby cat at home. And I was checking that there's a rota of people to look after her, make sure that she has everything she needs as well. And indeed, Ross's fiancée, she is looking after little baby Doja Cat this weekend.
Wayne.
And these are the important questions, team. cats being the patron saint of the internet.
Whoa. Whoa. No.
Again, that quiet weight so they can really control that roll, and that is a peach from Ross Whyte. He had one miss in the first end, and that seems to have really annoyed him, and he's not really missed anything since. And this is really one to learn from, gang, with your club team. The lesson is, if you need to hit and roll and you really want to control that roll, learn from these top teams. Just that quieter weight, just sort of hack to barrier. That would be the Scottish way. Hack to board would be for everyone else. And that quieter weight, it gives your sweepers a better chance to control the line. And you can see how nicely that is working out for Ross Whyte. It is Switzerland who have last stone in this fourth end, throwing red. Their second point, so to say, is that red just ahead of T-line at the top of the picture as we see it, but Ross Whyte calling Eve's bluff and putting a centre guard when Eve's replaced his corner guard, and now the Swiss have a bit of a problem. Perfectly played hit and roll from Ross Whyte with his first stone. Marco Hefti has 2 stones to do something about those 2 yellows. That's our sponsors at the bottom. The same sponsors that were supporting the competition last year. We are very happy that they want to continue supporting. That is why we have all the top teams here. It's a really good competition, very well supported. It fills up quickly, the roster.
Exactly, I still thought, like, well, I think we're on this the whole way.
Marco Hefti then trying to go around the back of everything. So just leaving those yellows where they are and just trying to outdraw them instead. A shout of line from the other end, and oh boy. That does not have enough gas on it. That's why that's curling quickly there, curling early. Line was exactly right, but did not have enough oomph behind it. Well, Marco knows exactly what he's going to have to do with this final shot. And that will be to outdraw whatever Ross Whyte is going to play now. We're nearly at the halfway here at the halfway point of Friday. We have 5 rounds today. This is the 3rd. So we are exactly halfway through. We have another round. The next round this evening is at 5:30. It's the early evening round, and then the final game this evening is at 8:30 European.
Do we have a little bit? Do we have room for error on this side in case it like comes up? Like we have room for error probably on this side. If I come up and bounce, does he have off it?
Should always be into here.
Which ones do you got? Which side do you guys go back? We can place it back. This one. We're trying to get it.
Techie Lass in the chat, she has been checking that indeed we do have all the best teams here, and she says 12 of the top 50 are playing this week. I counted slightly differently, Techie, last, just in a different way. We have 10 of the top 17, which is a highly specific number. And the other 7 of those top 17 are teams from North America. So we have all the top teams from not North America. There you go. If you're close by the club here in Baden, this weekend would be a great opportunity to come and meet some of the Olympic teams.
Right now.
In the men's competition for Olympics, already qualified are Italy, Britain, represented by Scotland, Canada, Sweden, Switzerland, Germany, Norway, and Czechia. And all of those teams, except Canada, are here. And they're all very friendly. They would be delighted if they have some fans coming to say hello. So now's your opportunity, so that when curling is inevitably all everyone is talking about at Olympics next year, you can show off and see that you're really in with the curling crowd. And there are 2 additional countries who will be playing in the Olympic qualifying competition. So the 8 countries already qualified: Italy, Britain, Canada, Sweden, Switzerland, Germany, Norway, Czechia. There are 2 more places, and we will get back to that in just a minute. Let's see if Marco Hefti, as we said, he's going to have to outplay Ross Whyte's last throw. Ross Whyte playing a lovely stone right to the tee line. And I don't think Marco can see all of that stone, so he has to be a little bit careful. He needs this red to sit. He can't afford to roll. Well, all right, he can afford to roll 3.5 centimetres, and that's great stuff from Marco Hefti, steadying the ship for the Swiss. But you could see the danger there. If he'd rolled even just a few centimetres more, that would be too far. So Marco really having a terrific start in his new team. Marco was throwing 4th for Jan Iseli's team last season. Doing a bit of mentoring with the younger Swiss team. But he's really bringing the goods to the Stalker rink.
Now we've said that, he'll probably want to require. I got 14-2 off the top. I can't remember this.
So yeah, maybe not too much time in between ends, boys. Having started 10 minutes early, you are now 6 minutes behind. So let's get on with it, shall we? Oh, James in the chat. He's watching curling at work. That's the spirit, James. I do that too. I used to have secret office curling on my iPad screen. And now I don't even make it a secret anymore. I just openly have my iPad sat on the cupboard. Rob Brydon then putting up that score of 1 to the Swiss. And that is a nice throw from the skipper. We are playing the no-tick rule. And what do you think, team? Is that touching the line? It doesn't have to be the running band. It's more the overhead if it's touching the line. I think it probably is. Therefore, you cannot tick that stone off the centre line.
Carve. Carve. Carve, 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 carve. 14-5.
That's a fine throw from Ewan Kyle.
Ja. Ist gut. Ist das ganz fair? Ganz fair?
Scotland +1. They are 3-2 ahead. They do have last stone in this 5th end. So Scotland in the position that they don't really need to take risks. They don't need to play too aggressively here, and that's probably why we see them going for the centre rather than playing to the wings. They got that big score of 3 in the 3rd end, and they don't need to go all out for a score at the moment. And same with Swiss, really. They're 1 behind only. And nice stones from Yves there. This is first competition back since knee surgery. I think the last competition he played was this one last year.
Same ice. I'll give you less 10.
Let's see how everyone else is getting on. On sheet 1, which you can watch, viewer. We have cameras everywhere now.
Yep.
You don't have to just rely on me telling you what's going on in sheet 1. But if you are watching that one on the newly installed sheet 1 cameras, it is the Italian team of Joel Retornaz. They will be representing in Italy. They qualify as host automatically, but they do actually qualify as one of the best teams in the world as well. That's to say they would qualify without being host. But we will see them. I'm sure they will be big news at the Olympics next year in their home country. They are leading Lukas Klima's team, who are also qualified already, 5 points to 1. We have our first result of this late lunch draw. That's on sheet 3. And the Chinese team by Xiaoming Zhu, led by Xiaoming Zhu. They have really built on this morning's victory, and it was 12-0 to China in 4 ends over Felix Luethold, one of the younger Swiss teams. It is tough out there. I guarantee you Felix's men's team would beat any of our decent club teams by a million miles, but it's quite a different game up here. So the Chinese will be delighted with that, but the young Swiss, they're right to save their energy. I think they both have another game this evening. Actually, China's finished for the day, but Felix Luethold's team, they have 3 games today. That is a very long day, so they're wise to save their energy. They will be up against team, let me see, at 8:30. They'll be up against Netherlands at 8:30. But a big boost for the Chinese team. They're now on 2 wins and 1 loss, so they're very much still in the mix. And over on sheet 4 is our final game out there at this late lunch draw. It is team Ramsfjell of Norway. They are playing team Gosgens of Netherlands. We have bonus Stefan Wallstad skipping in place of Magnus Ramsfjell. Magnus's team also already qualified for Olympics next year. And I wonder if that means that Stefan is maybe going as 5th man. I will ask him.
Yes.
And Netherlands, they will be eligible for the Olympic qualifying competition. That will take place in Kelowna in Canada from 5th to the 18th of December. It is the most intense competition that curling has. It's once every 4 years. It makes such a difference to the sport in your country if your team qualifies. That can unlock all sorts of support and funding and whatnot. So you can imagine that it's a very tense atmosphere in Kelowna in December. But Norway already qualified. Netherlands will be at the Olympic qualifying competition. Their game after 5 ends is 2 each.
Linie gut. Macht einer viel. Sita, sita.
His team currently committing to the aggressive end, trying to really force the issue, either force Scotland to take a point, or if they're really clever about it, could they steal a point and level the score here in the fifth end? I wouldn't put it past Ross Whyte's team to still fashion a blank from here.
Whoa! Straight! Straight! Whoa!
There's superfan Megan in the chat. Also, will be happy to see Ross Whyte's team at the World Championship.
You were never curling that back to get to nose.
I touched that a bit. Here.
You were never curling that back to nose.
And that looks like one of our Asia Pac fans. Always have our dedicated viewers from Asia Pacific region. I'm sure they will be happy to see a good performance from our only representative from Asia Pac. That's the Chinese team at the moment. And they had a tough start against the best team in the world, Mouat. And maybe not surprisingly, did not pick up a win in that game, but they played well this morning, and they have played well again this afternoon, and they have bounced right back. They finished last year on rank 16 of the top teams in the world, so they'll be pleased with how they're building on that. And like we've been saying all weekend, gang, to beat these top teams, Ross Whyte's team, they finished 5th in the world. To beat these top teams, the aggressive game really is the only way to do it. It is high risk, high reward. But you're not going to out-hit these teams. You don't win games by hitting anymore. You do have to just try to set it up, keep stones in play, keep it complicated. I was going to say they have to miss some time. And honestly, in Ross Whyte's team's case, I'm not sure that's always true, but they don't tend to miss very much. But this is the way to beat them, is to keep stones in play. It is high risk, high reward. But you need to take that chance. Kim Schwaller, brother of Yannick Schwaller, being asked to replace that guard, and he has done that perfectly. A huge leg drive from Robin Bryden. And a huge sweep from Ewan Kyle. Oh, he was looking for more than one again there, and doesn't quite catch that red on the way through. And that's what we said, gang, is you have to take a deep breath and have good courage against the top teams. Robin Bryden certainly doesn't miss very many. So you just need to keep that pressure on. If you're just joining us, or if you weren't here at the beginning, you will have noticed we have two slightly different constellations out there than we're used to. It's Robin Bryden, who is skipping this weekend for Ross Whyte's team from Scotland. He is rehabilitating a shoulder injury. So obviously a weekend's worth of sweeping is to be avoided. So the usual throwing order, it's still Robin throwing 3 and Ross throwing 4, but it's Robin skipping this weekend. They also have Craig Waddell playing in their team. Craig's normal team with his brother Kyle. They're also here, but they have Mark Watt subbing in for them. Craig subbing in for Duncan McFadden. And I asked Craig what it's like to sweep with Ross as a sweeping partner, considering Ross is normally standing in the head. And Craig said he's pretty good for a skip. So good to know.
The other option's a little bit more risky, is trying to go this in the hair low. This way.
Also throwing in a different constellation is the Swiss. So Yves Stocker, he's throwing lead stones. He is also coming back from surgery. Knee surgery kept him out most of last season. So he's throwing lead. He's just getting back into throwing stones. Felix Eberhard is at 2, as he was last season. Kim Schwaller at 3, as he normally is. And throwing 4th this weekend is Marco Hefti, in your picture there. And doing a terrific job being flung in at the deep end. Whoa. And swimming very well.
Whoa. Straight.
So another
Whoa.
big weight from Scotland. Oh! And that just squeaks past even closer than the last time. But squeak past it does. That red is somehow hanging on.
Ja. Vet. Moest aber geleugen melden.
Yep, that's been working. Putting that red guard back.
Beetje, ja. Maar met de maanwisje is het ook, kijk ze.
Let's remember our objectives. It's Scotland who have last stone playing yellow. Their objective is to score 2 or more. When you have last stone, you want to try to take advantage. So the Swiss objective is to avoid that, and they are avoiding that. You can either do it defensively by making sure you have no stones in play. No stones equals no points. Or you can do it aggressively, which is what they're doing. And I was about to say it's been working for them, and I do not want to tempt the curling gods into making a mistake now. But the other way to defend is having a better attack. And that stone just about hanging on to enough line to find a good spot from Marco Hefti.
Can you make the chase for 2?
Same drill by the look of it. Scotland still trying to find that vertical double. To get rid of both those reds with one throw. Robin Brydom was close then closer.
Whoa, clean.
Ross Whyte was close with his first.
Whoa.
Well, take that. Just picking that red clean. Catching about half a centimetre of it. And that's because that final guard from Marco Hefti, it curled half a centimetre too much. Watch this. Perfect. Look at that. All he could see was the edge of that red. That's all he needed. But that, not a bad end for Swiss. As we said, their objective was to make sure Scotland were not in a position to score more than one, and they were not. But now we are getting towards the conclusion of this game. We play 8 ends. So I think that's it for Swiss. No more points to Scotland, please. They will now need to be fairly aggressive if they want to get this gap back.
Line's good. Good to go. Good to go. Line's good. Just for weight. Just for weight. 14-8. 14-8.
All the games, as is often the case, proceeding now at a snail's pace. Everyone is in the sixth end. On sheet 1, the Italians with Joe Retornaz, they are leading Lukas Klima's team from Czechia 5 points to 2. They're in their sixth end. Over on sheet 4, it is 2 points each. It's their scoreboard very much in binary code up there, just ones and zeros. They're also in their sixth end. That's Netherlands against Ramsfjell of Norway. And we already have our first result. If you are tuning in from Asia Pacific region, I know we have several dedicated fans from those countries. And the good news for the pan-continental champions, it is Team Zhu of China, and they had a huge win against Felix Luethold of Switzerland. It was 12-0 in 4 ends. So they will be brimming with confidence. They have the evening off, the Chinese. And Felix Luethold's day not getting any easier. They will play their third game at 8:30 this evening. So unusual situation for the big man, throwing lead stones, but doing it very nicely. Just getting back into throwing stones carefully, let's say. He had knee surgery, which kept him out most of last season. And a double guard going up. And in the old world, in the 4 rock free guard zone, we would see Robin Bryden surely go to remove those corner guards. But in the 5 rock world, typically you will see a centre guard for themselves being thrown now. So Duncan not here this weekend, but that is Craig Waddell subbing instead of him.
Good to go.
And I was confused too, viewer, because Craig's normal team with his brother Kyle, they're also here, but they have Mark Watt subbing in for them. Scotland lineup's also more of an art than a science. So the Swiss, yeah, they need to just hold their nerve. They know they're going to have 3 opposition stones on the centre line by the time Felix comes to throw his first throw. But this is the way to try to build an end, to try to build 2 points. Both of these teams, they've won both their games so far. Stocker's team beating Retornaz yesterday evening. That was a great game for the neutral to watch, and for Stocker Army, obviously. And after a bit of a dozy start this morning, they really pulled themselves together and got the better of Team Pfister representing Philippines. We'll be watching them later on this weekend, the team from Philippines. Ross Whyte's team haven't even played 6 ends yet, so this is already new territory for them, this weekend at least. They played Mark Pfister's Philippines team yesterday evening. It was 12 points to 3 in 5 ends. And they played Lukas Klima's team this morning, and it was 8 points to 2 in 5 ends. And Lukas Klima's competition, unfortunately for Czech fans, not getting better. We have a result on sheet 1.
This is tough for
after
them to
6
use
ends.
right now.
And that was a
What
big
if they
score of
just
3
signal
to
that?
the
If you have
Italians.
a half court trying to make this,
So they've shaken hands. The final score on sheet 1 is
he has to rule high,
Joel
he tries to
Retornaz
use
of
it.
Italy
He
8,
always got a double.
Lukas Klima of Czechia 2. So Team Klima, they will play Yves Stocker's team this evening at 8:30. Either way, Team Klima's competition, sadly, will finish at the round robin stage. But Stocker's competition very much alive.
You try to hold it, you try to roll away.
Whoever wins
I would
this
just reckon
encounter
it's
in our
just like
featured game, I am reasonably sure will be the first team to qualify for the the quarterfinals. That will be tomorrow evening.
Clean. Yep. Clean. Clean, 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 clean.
You can see how accurate the Swiss need to be now with their stone placement. If you give the Scots any room, they can just pick off. All they need to see is just a little edge of the stone and it's gone. We have 2 results so far. Team China, they were finished first in a really dominant performance against Felix Luethold's young Swiss team. It was 12-0 to China in 4 ends. And we just saw in sheet 1, shaking hands, that was a really important win for Joel Retornaz of Italy, winning 8 points to 2 over Lukas Klima's team from Czechia. And a big relief for Joel's team there. They started off with a loss against Yves yesterday evening, and they did not play this morning, so they would be feeling like they were getting a little bit behind. So they will be very happy to put that win on the board. We are steadily making progress over on sheet 4, where we have Team Ramsfjell of Norway, featuring Stefan Wallstadt this weekend. They are playing the ever-aggressive Wouter Gosgens team of Netherlands. And still a binary code on their scoreboard. It was a score of 1 to the Netherlands. In the 6th end, it's 3-2 to the Dutch. So how are we getting 2 from here? That's what the Swiss will be discussing. And why is that so important? Well, let's imagine an end rather, of perfect curling. So you play your first stone, your opposition throws a perfect stone, you throw a perfect stone, etc., etc. Do that for 8 stones each, and your opposition will easily, let's say, be able to score 1 point at the end of that because they have 1 last stone. So we can think of a score of 1 when you have last stone. That's kind of the default. At this level, where you won't get many mistakes, it's relatively straightforward to make 1 point with your 1 last stone. Now, if you make 1 point with your 1 last stone, if you do that for 8 ends, you will be swapping last stone every other end, and you will end up with a score of 4 each. Now, that will not be enough to win you the game. Therefore, at some point, you need to do more than score only 1 with your final stone. And that is why you see the teams working so hard to set up chances to score 2. And the way to set up a chance to score 2 is to kind of set a trap for your opposition, set up a shot that's too difficult for them, and try to get them to miss one. That's a particularly difficult thing to do with Ross Whyte's team. They just don't really miss very much. And like we said, we're in the 6th end out of 8. It's only 4-2. It's not panic stations, but I don't think we can let Scotland get any more from here. But Eve's now getting in a bit of a mess. Yeah. At the moment, pretty difficult to even score one. So I think this makes sense. We need to make a bit of space. So a big throw from Kim Schwaller. He's been a great addition to this team. Oh! He got, I think, 4 or 5 stones moving there. And certainly improved matters. A little bit unlucky that he didn't find a kinder angle to move that yellow. But certainly improving matters.
Also saying here, just does he have enough for the top one to stick on the yellow?
But it is still Scotland who are controlling this end.
I know, but just
the Swiss having to be a bit reactive rather than building here.
That was one of my first thoughts. Just we can place a draw in there. I guess the only problem with the draw is I guess with here and give him enough on the inside. Yeah.
It's just going to be hard for 2 for them.
We do not have clocks here.
Like if they make the draw, it's going to be hard for 2 if we can place a draw.
That is a resourcing, a volunteering issue. If you have time clocks, you need a lot of volunteers to work those. And the result of that is that we spend quite a lot of time chatting about other things while the boys are making up their mind. Both of these teams on 2 wins from 2. Whoever wins here will be on 3 wins from 3. And well, I'm pretty sure will be our first qualifiers for the quarterfinals, which are tomorrow evening. They are 8:30 tomorrow evening, European time. That's always a fun round to watch, 4 top class games happening all at the same time. But a long way to go until then. We start off with 4 groups of 5 teams. After you have played all the teams within your group, so after everyone has played the other 4 teams in their group, all the teams are ranked 1 to 20 in one big group. Obviously, if you've won 4 out of 4, you are straight into the quarterfinal. If you've won 3 out of 4, I think that has always been enough to get you to the quarterfinal, and typically the last couple of places in the quarterfinals come from the big pile of teams that finish on 2 wins and 2 losses. It will then be draw shot challenge.
Okay, good to go.
So the draw shot challenge is cumulative,
Yep, then.
not only deciding who gets last stone per game.
Close, yep. Yep. Whoa, 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 whoa.
In our featured game then, we're in the 6th end. That's not quite where Ross wanted it, but I don't see much wrong with that placement. Again, Switzerland have to be reactive here. They're not really having opportunities to build this end to try to get red stones safely into play. They're really having to react to what Scotland are doing.
sieht man. Ja. Voll. Ja. Also dann finde ich das einfacher. Also sie sind beide schwer, aber... Voll. Ja. Ja.
So another big think coming at this sixth end. How often do we see this team?
Ja. Man kann sie recht rausziehen mit Wischen, auf dieser Spur.
After the sixth end, you've only got 2 ends to play. So if you get it wrong in the sixth end, very often you are running out of ends to fix things. James wondering if I put down my headphones and march down to the ice and read the Riot Act to all these slow games. Maybe if I tell them the buffet is closing if they don't get on with it. I wonder if the temptation of food might be enough to get them to hurry along.
Yep.
So full beans from Marco Hefti.
Good.
Again, needs to make a bit of space here. That's a happy result. It is still 2 yellows lying, both still touching the forefoot, that blue circle. Curling predating the metric system by several hundred years. So we're still talking in feet in curling. But look where that little red's ended up. See those 2 reds in the front ring there? If you touch that front red at weight, it is squirting straight back onto that yellow. But unfortunately, Marco's only got 1 shot left. So that nice little plant wouldn't really help, unfortunately. But he has made space. That was one of the objectives of that shot.
Like this you can still not really give him a shot and...
And while Ross and Robin having another committee meeting, our next round is at 5:30. It is the current Swiss vice champions, Marco Hoesli's team, and they are playing the current European champions, Mark Muskatewicz's team from Germany. That sounds tasty. And then at 8:30 this evening, it's another tasty one. On sheet 2, it will be Team Ramsfjell of Norway, minus a Ramsfjell plus a Wallstatt, and they are playing the number 1 team of everything, Bruce Mouat. And I couldn't decide, gang, which of those games to watch together, so we're just going to power through and try and do both. You're welcome.
Wayne?
It's just me this year. Almoor and Linda, well, Linda not recovering, but Almoor is recovering from also a health situation and not able to join us this year. So we're wishing Al a good recovery and feel fit and recover well. So it's just me this year, but I can't decide between those 2 games this evening. So we're going to go for them both. As we said, already a decent result for Stocker's team. Nobody else has even managed to get Ross Whyte's team to play 6 ends. That's the kind of form they're in, thank you. But gosh, they're not doing much wrong, Ross Whyte's team, are they? I don't really think the Swiss are having a bad game exactly. It's more that, yeah, Scotland are just not putting a stone wrong. Scotland will be delighted with this 6th end. They have really controlled this end. The Swiss really not getting a chance to build stones, to build points, having to be reactive to Scotland's good play. And as we said, if your opposition refuses to make a mistake, you cannot score 2 points anyway. And Ross Whyte's team just stubbornly refusing to get anything wrong here. And, oh, has he done it? Oh, I really hope he has. Such a big effort from Marco Hefti. What a start he's having in this lineup. Yeah, it's certainly one of those 2 stones. The last thing we need is for someone to run and get the measure from the other end of the ice hole, but I think that's what's going to happen. I saw Eves waving a finger in the air, which is the universal signal for do you want to measure. And this one, yeah, I definitely would. This is a pretty important difference in score. If it's one yellow, the score will be 5-2. If it's one red, it will be 4-3, and that is quite a big difference. So Whyte just scooting down to the opposite corner of the ice hole to fetch the measure. We've already seen the 6-foot measure in this game. And this will be the other one with the little pin dropping down. There you go. That little pin just sort of in the middle of the arm there. You'll see how it works. So we line it up with a hole in the centre. And it looks like it's Robin who will do this. He will move that little pin that's dropped down so that it touches the yellow. So it's just touching. And then we see Marco and he will agree. How far does the yellow push the needle? It's on a little dial. And then whichever pushes the needle further is closer to the middle. Ooh, I can't tell. Marco's got a big smile either way.
What is it? Oh, okay.
Oh. It is a red stone in front of the hack at the moment.
Yep.
It is Eve Stalker getting ready to play, and that means the result of that measure was 1 red. Whoop whoop. So we're supposed to be neutral here in the commentary. That just slipped out by mistake. But yeah, I definitely did see the draw and saw this fixture. Whyte's team against my favourite Eve Stalker's team. And yes, I circled it in red felt tip pen and drew little love hearts all over it. And like we said, that is a big difference between a score of 4-3 and it would have been 5-2. Phew. We have now taken, though, 1 hour and 3/4 for 6 ends. They've got 1 hour and 15 minutes. The next round is on at 5:30 European time. But obviously, Jamie, the chief ice master, he'll be the one chasing them off the ice if they don't smarten up a bit. Ongoing caginess on sheet 4. That's where we have Team Ramsfjell via Valstad from Norway. They are playing for the Gosgens team of Netherlands, and it is still a binary code on their scorecard. It was a score of 1 to Norway, and it is 3 each. They are in their 8th end. In our featured game, though, Ewan Kyle's stone there, falling foul of the no-tick rule. So that a really nice throw from Eves, splitting that centre line, and that stone absolutely safe on that centre line. I think technically you could move it to a slightly different place on the centre line, but that's not going to help you, so you would never try to do that. And getting the reward that Ewan Kyle, I think that's about the first mistake he's made this game. But the Swifts being rewarded with replacing their stone on that centre line. I wonder how important that will be.
Sure.
So after knee surgery, Eve's in tip-top form, throwing lead stones out there. He's barely put a stone wrong this game. And this is a good half an hour longer of a game for Ross Whyte's team than they've had so far this weekend. They were off in 5 ends their previous 2 games. And some people say, well, yeah, of course there must be an excellent form if they're winning games in 5 ends with strong scoring like that. But sometimes it's good to have a real tough game. Some people think, oh, maybe it's not so good to go through too easily. I don't know, I think if you're playing that well, gives you good confidence, doesn't it? Intriguing 8th end going on here on rink 4. If you have a spare device, we need a lot of devices now for BADEN Masters team. You need your main screen, obviously, for sheet 2, and your phone or something for sheet 3 or 4, and now we need an additional device so that you can watch sheet 1 for the very first time. You need a lot of screens to keep up here. That's a fine throw from Felix Eberhard. This is more like it. Now they're forcing Scotland to be a bit more reactive. Big throw from this weekend's sub, Craig Waddell, who is borrowing Ewan Kyle's uniform. Don't get confused.
2, 3.
We saw this in the 5th end, but then we saw Ross Whyte calmly just picking off the red shot stone, just catching the edge of it, because their final guard for the Swiss over curled by just a couple of centimetres, and that's all they need at this level. So nervy stuff for the Stalker Army, but they now have no choice. We are on end 7 out of 8 ends. The score is 3-4 from their perspective, and their best path to winning this game is to steal one here and to steal one again in the 8th end.
I don't love it. Cover this side as well, so.
If scores are tied after 8 ends, we will have an extra end, and then I think it will be Jamie, the ice master, will be going down to shout at them. So Craig Waddell on loan from his own team, who are also here.
Really gotta go.
Borrowing Ewan Kyle's uniform, but doing a super job in Ross Whyte's team.
Red.
And look at that. That's exactly the precision that we saw in the 5th end. But he does leave a chance for Kim Schwaller to hit and roll. Yeah, he maybe would have preferred to roll a little bit further away, Craig Waddell there, with that throw.
Down the middle's getting really soft, so I think if you like
can
just
see
that kind of
that's the view from the hack that Kim Schwaller is now looking at.
I think if we hadn't slipped that one there, then that would have
Just about
held up.
less than a metre to roll in behind all that cover. That would be a lovely shot. So, yes, no sweeping is typically a happy sound. Oh, yep. They were maybe overcautious there with that sweep. You can still see most of that red, but again, Scotland will roll the other way. They cannot roll in behind that cover.
clean.
Robin in the team that just threw there. He was kind enough to give his time on Wednesday when the teams arrived. Ooh. Well now, an unexpected mistake from Robin Bryden. He was kind enough to give up his time on Wednesday along with some of the other players here at the competition, and they had just an hour or so, a kind of meet and greet for junior players. I think players who are in the Swiss junior system. And I was speaking to one young lady who was coming on Wednesday. I spoke to her last weekend and she was so excited to come and meet the big players. I think there was Robin from Ross Whyte's team, I think Pascal from Yannick Schwaller's team, a couple of others, and Robin said it was really nice. They were on ice for about an hour and the young ones had the opportunity to ask the top players whatever they wanted. And Robin said, yeah, they seemed like they were very interested in getting some advice, some tips. So we say a big thank you to all the players, the top players here in this competition that gave up time to be a mentor for the next generation. So that was a mistake, finally, from Robin Bryden. And we know it's not due to lack of sleep. Robin just welcoming a little baby into their family. And he says, no, it's not lack of sleep at their house. His little one sleeps really well already. But that's what Stocker's been waiting for. You will not get many mistakes from Ross Whyte's team. And you need to use them immediately. So Yves never taking his eye off that line. And that's, that was about a stone too heavy maybe from Kim. Yeah, the very precise shot Kim was asked for. So I don't want to sound too critical.
How much? 9.25.
Ross looking thoughtful, but he always looks like that. So that doesn't necessarily mean anything's wrong. You can certainly see almost all of that red. And can he get the pair of them? Yeah, he needs to catch the outside of that red he can see, and he can get the pair. And that is a pity for Kim Schwaller. That stone was just really no more than half a metre too heavy. But he did give Robin Bryden a chance to make up for his first stone, and oh boy did he, getting rid of both of those pesky reds. And Yves will just have to persist with trying to get a stone buried in behind everything. Their best path to winning the game from here, they are 3-4 at the moment, 1 point behind. Their best path to winning the game is a steal here in the 7th and another steal in the 8th, however difficult that may be. I'm not convinced that if Scotland get 1 point here, well, they could make 2. Yeah. Then we'd have an extra end. Yeah, if Scotland would score 1 here, 1 yellow, that would make 5-3. And I haven't seen really any teams even close to taking 3 off Ross Whyte, but you never know. And that is another fearless effort from Marco Hefti. However, this game finishes, gang. I think Eves should be pretty pleased with how their first competition with this new lineup is going. That's the overhead view and the view from the hack, and you can see from both perspectives what a nice shot that was. There is space to follow that red, I think. We can see how much that stone curls right at the end. It really grabs the curl just about just before the house and really starts to go sideways. So there's definitely space for Ross Whyte to reach that red. And the Swiss need to concentrate here. They know that there's a good chance Ross will make this shot. He doesn't miss much. And they'll just have to do the same again. Same shot again, in behind everything. You've just played it. Just adjust the curl just a little bit. And you can't let it get into your head that you're playing draw after draw really accurately and your opposition are just cancelling it out every time. You mustn't let that get into your head. You just have to focus on playing the right stones, the right strategy. Clean is always a happy sound. That typically means that everything's fine, so just keep the path clean. Make sure there's not a little piece of fluff or something. Just like that. So yeah, we said that there was space to get to that red. There was, but we're in a similar situation that we saw a few stones ago. That yellow, Marco's brush there, that is the shot, that is closest, but he can see the whole thing. And Stocker's team, again, they now have the opportunity to do that really precise hit and roll in behind the cover. And again, learn from this if you're looking at this kind of situation at the club. There's certainly a balance between playing too light, as in too quiet a weight, and it curls too much. But if you throw a real huge weight at this, then it's much harder to control the roll. So you will see something in between, that nice hack to barrier sort of weight. Quiet weight from Marco Hefti. The Swiss really need this roll to work, otherwise it could be a bit of a game over. We need to curl to catch that roll, and roll, 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 roll. They wanted it to curl a little bit more. Ross has a fairly similar shot to his first throw, but there is another red now that may act as a catcher. Well, we've certainly picked the right game to watch. It's the only game left out on the ice. Over on sheet 4, nobody scored more than 1 the whole game, but it was, in fact, and nobody stole an end until the 8th end. It was Norway who stole 1 red finally in the 8th end, and they win that game against Gosgens' team from Netherlands 4-3. The Norwegians triumph, so they are also on 2 wins out of 2. They will also play this evening. They will be our featured game actually at 8:30. So they have time to go and have some dinner at the buffet next door. They will be playing Bruce Mouat's team, and they've had the afternoon off. So definitely one yellow. Nice throw from Ross Whyte, very similar to his first throw. I think it's only one though. Robin having a good look. Marco also having a good look. Maybe a measure again. Gosh, boys, we don't have time for that.
We'll have a look. What do you think?
Oh, they're tempted. Again, there's a, he's off. Robin's getting the measure. Again, this is quite a big difference, though. If it's 5-3, I think the Swiss definitely have, well, they should be confident that they can try to set themselves up a 2. If the score is 6-3, so if yellow have scored 2 at this end, that is a much bigger mountain to climb. To score 2, you need at least 1 mistake from your opposition. To score 3, you need at least 2 mistakes from your opposition, and the chance of Ross Whyte's team making 2 mistakes in the same end is awfully small. So, same drill. We saw this in the 6th end. I'm not sure what that means. If that was me, that would mean that red was further away because I was kicking it away from the pin. Smile from Marco, but he always looks like that too. So again, difficult to tell what's happening here. It was just the one. Whew. So the longest game in history is about to enter its final end. The Swiss all still smiley, that's good to see. They need to go all out to score 2 points in this 8th end and take their chance in an extra end. Scotland simply need to stop Swiss scoring 2 points, and that will be enough to see them qualify for the quarter-final. Ewan Kyle then, also a new father. His girlfriend just had a little baby a few months ago as well. But luckily she's already a midwife, so she knows exactly what to expect, she knows exactly what to do. And Ewan, he will just be putting this top of the forefoot, please. Just there. The only thing Scotland doesn't want is any guards. That's just guards that Stocker can use. The other choice would be for Ewan Kyle to simply throw that stone away, so just to play it through the back. But you don't see that so often anymore. If you were really +6 or something, then you might, but not so often anymore, especially in this 5-rock rule. That's the whole point of 5-rock rule, is to try to keep stones in play, give the team that's behind a better chance to get back into the game. Yves Stocker from Switzerland, they have 1 end to get back into this game. They need to score 2. We can pretty easily predict what the first 5 stones are going to look like. We saw it in the 6th end. I think we're going to see it again in this 8th end. So both lead players, Ewan Kyle and Yves Stocker, ignoring each other, stones-wise. Ewan playing both his stones towards the centre. Yves will play both his stones away from the centre. And then it's up to the rest of the team to do something with it. Ewan Kyle's job in this game is done. He has earned his dinner.
14-3.
This is the most aggressive approach from the Swiss. They're putting a corner guard either side.
Right.
The other choice is a double guard. Either way, essential is that both of Eve's stones are guards and protected by that free guard zone. And subbing in the team this weekend, that is Craig Waddell, throwing second in Ross Whyte's team.
Yep.
Rather mysteriously, Craig's actual team, with his brother Kyle, they're also playing here, but they have Mark Watt throwing third instead of Craig. So a bit of a revolving door from the Scottish teams this weekend. Now, this sort of set-up team, this is all very well at this level, and this is exactly right. But the reason this is exactly right at this level is because Yves now can ask Felix and Kim and Marco to start clearing up the centre. Now at the club, that's not so easy. So at the club, putting those two guards, putting up two corner guards there, at club level, even in this situation, that may be a little bit over-aggressive because there are not so many people at the club who are really capable of lifting double takeouts and rolling away on the centre line. So just be careful if you're learning tactics from these top teams. Tactic to use is that quiet wait on a single stone hit and roll. A tactic to be careful is this setup here. Is be careful putting out two corner guards because you are going to be looking at three opposition stones in the centre, and that's not so easy for club players to tidy up. That's my top tip for this weekend.
It's very thin. Very thin. Half.
This is the last game still out on the sheet. Rink 3 was finished about an hour and a half ago, it feels like. That was a win for China, Team Zhu, over Team Luethold of Switzerland. Next to finish was Joe Retornaz's team of Italy. They were strong 8-2 winners over Lucas Klima's team of Czechia. And finally, an incredibly aggressive but incredibly low scoring game over on sheet 4. That is the Norwegian team, Team Ramsfjell, with bonus Steffen Wallstad skipping, and they at the very last stone were 4-3 winners over Valterhuisen's team of Netherlands. Well, I'm not sure about this one, Yves, because you used your first two stones to throw up corner guards. You knew that, yeah, I think I like that better. You played your corner guards for a reason. You knew that Ross was going to play towards the centre. So if you're now going to play towards the centre anyway, then you may as well have done it before. So I think this is a better idea.
A little bit slow.
Linie! Linie! Oh,
so a huge sweep from Kim and Marco. And that doesn't quite have the legs from Felix. He looked a little bit concerned about it when he let it go. But it's better to be too short than too long in this situation, for sure. A stone that's too long doesn't help them at all. A stone that is still a guard, that could be helpful later. So a professional miss there from Felix. this is the kind of situation where the 5 rock rule has really changed the landscape. To some extent, you feel like, well, Scotland are +2. They don't have last stone. So, does it really make sense to keep putting stones in play here? But that was the whole point of 5 rock rule, was indeed to keep stones in play. But yeah, Ross and Robin, they will not be pleased. Yeah, Robin looking a bit concerned with that one. That's really not where they wanted it. All these stones out front really only help the Swiss. I think, though, you have to make a move now, boys. At some point, you have to do something about those yellows. And I think now may be the time.
Regelt sich das noch?
Ross Whyte's team have the evening off. They will play Joe Retornaz's team tomorrow morning at 11. Yeah, this group is just bursting with tasty lineups. But Eve's team, they are back out this evening against Klima's team. So they don't want to use up all their energy here. A really precise shot being asked from Kim Schwaller. And all of them not taking their eyes off that stone. That's a great throw from Kim. So we have 2 reds in play ahead of tea. And now we have to do something with them. So Robin not happy with his first one. He left a stone lying around out front. He's not going to leave much lying around from here. Just the 1 red though.
Claps out.
He's asking for another setup stone from Kim Schwaller. And then Marco Hefty will already be mentally preparing himself. He will know exactly what kind of shots are coming up with his thrones in this 8th end. Will it be the last end? You may see Jamie the Ice Master wandering around in the background. There's his feet going down sheet 1 over there. Oh, Marco leaning his whole self on the brush there. And yeah, that's found a decent spot, I think. Or, are those reds now set up at a disadvantageous angle for that yellow closest to centre? So actually that's yellow's lying short, isn't it? Can they still get to that one? We will see.
Yep.
Looks like a similar call from Ross Whyte. Remember, 1 red is fine for Scotland. You only get 1 point for a win and no points for a loss. It doesn't matter if you win by 8 points or 1.
Go.
Well, that's changed the landscape a bit. We still have 2 reds in play ahead of tea. That yellow is quite vulnerable just behind that red. Now what? We have 3 stones to come. We have 2 reds and 1 yellow. And this discussion critical then. Where do we put this first throw of Marco Hefti to try to make sure that they have maybe even a chance at scoring 3, the Swiss. Of course, that would be something, wouldn't it? Yeah, I think the split, I think, is probably the best idea. That's the one. I did just communicate that telepathically, team. Yeah, we need 3 reds lying around somewhere after this shot. And we need to make sure that we can finish it off by doing something with that yellow with the final shot. Or you could do it with this shot. You could play it on your red, punch that yellow through, something like that, yeah, what Kim is looking at now. And then you need to cross your fingers a bit that Ross Whyte can probably make a double, but can't make a triple takeout. And then you should still have a chance at 3, or 2 rather. GM Curl in the chat. Has Team Whyte to the Worlds been announced? Yes, it has. So it is Mouat's team who will go to Olympics. They will represent Britain there. And it is back-to-back Scottish champions. Ross Whyte will finally be at World Championships, where they have been patiently waiting since 2020, when they were qualified and ready to go, could not go because of COVID. Worlds was cancelled. And I think everyone delighted that they will finally have their opportunity to shine. I'm not fully sure about this call. So I think the call is a direct draw in behind that guard. And really that would be point number 3 after the final throw. I think I prefer playing onto the yellow with this shot, but they discussed it thoroughly. Marco Hefti in your picture, a new signing for Stocker's team this season. But he has had a lot of practice throwing 4th stone with Jan Iseli's team last season. I think 2 seasons actually. That's exactly what they said they were going to do. So let's see how Ross Whyte responds.
I think it would, yeah. I think like, yeah, quarter should still have enough momentum off this, right? Yeah.
4 1/4 hours this game is now taken. Well, that might just be the 8th end. A big shot for Ross Whyte here. He and Robin with the final 4 stones for Scotland, just trying to get stones out of play, but they ended up not quite finding the right angles. And Ross now looking at a double with his final throw of the 8th end. Will it be his final throw of this game?
Yep.
Oh, there almost was some sort of triple. From this angle, I think it's red.
Now we played an extra here.
And to the great chagrin of Jamie the Iceman.
We can.
A nice draw here from Marco Hefti. We will be having an extra end, gang, so good luck, Marco. It's a real steady 4th thrower, Marco Hefti. He needs to be just fully in the house. He doesn't look too concerned. You and Kyle completely unconcerned. Already clearing up.
It's okay.
That was a score of 2 red, no handshakes. And this has become a nice habit actually, that for an extra end the teams take the stones down the other end and play them all the way back so that the clubhouse can better see what's going on. So we like that. I think that's a nice little touch. We have a lot of visitors here at the club on Friday evening. Ooh, I think I see Peter de Cruz watching, if I'm not mistaken. And if they don't get a move on, they're going to have a whole rink full of players standing glaring at them. But of course, this is quite some fight from Stalker's team. David Saville saying, bonus curling? Question? Bonus curling. Confirmed.
That far is quick enough for another.
Nobody's stolen an end yet, which would tend to suggest advantage Scotland. It is Ross Whyte who will have the final say in this game. But he and Robin just struggling a little bit to close out the game in that 8th end. And like we said, that is the way to play against these top teams, is to keep stones in play. And it's been working for the Swiss.
Carla! Phil!
They would love to be able to bend this all the way onto the centre line. They have. That is touching that centre line. Robin Bryden skipping this weekend. Not allowed to tick that shot away from the centre line. Robin is skipping this weekend. He is rehabilitating a shoulder injury. So a weekend's worth of sweeping is not going to help. So that's why he's skipping this weekend, holding the broom. But as you've seen, they maintaining their normal throwing order. So Ross still throwing 4th. I asked Craig Waddell if Ross is any good at sweeping, since we don't normally see him sweeping. Is he a good sweeping partner? And Craig Waddell said, he's not bad for a skip. Quite good for a skip. Same again, please, from the big guy.
Platz.
Yves also playing in an unusual position. He is recovering from knee surgery last season. That kept him out most of the season. I think the last time he played a competition was this time last year. So that one not quite finding the centre line, but not far off. The big guy can do no more.
Lane. Just top button. Line's fine, wait only.
And you and Kyle
Power
then, this is a straight
Power
one-end
room, we're
shootout.
floating, we're floating. Power.
It doesn't matter if you score 1 or 8.
14
Easier
and a
to
half.
score 1 than 8,
Doing
surely.
so.
And that is why you and Kyle being asked to just get to the centre first of all, before the Swiss do. Try and take control of that key area just ahead of T-line, just in the centre. So you and Kyle playing 2 nice stones there, but there is space for Felix Eberhard to just nestle into that space. The split time is hog to hog. That will tell us how fast the ice is. Yesterday it was running about 15 seconds for a T-line. That's about 14.5-ish. So if it's similar to yesterday, this would be just over T. Oh no, that is T, so looks like the ice is running a little bit slower than yesterday. Not surprising, a tough ask for the ice team. It is 33 degrees here. That is 88. No, hang on, let me say that again. It's 31 degrees here, which is 88 for our metrically challenged jumps. And that always makes life a bit tougher if you're trying to make the ice nice. Oh, Craig Waddell awfully close to getting the pair of those guards off in one shot. That is exactly what the Swiss are trying to avoid. So who is going to blink first in this extra end? The first extra end we've had in the competition. The longest game by about 2.5 hours. Ross Whyte's team have the evening off. Eve Stalker's team do not. They play Lucas Klima's team at 8:30. They've had a really long day. They've played 8 in the morning, 2:30, and they will play again at 8:30. That is a fine throw from Felix Eberhard. I always say that's a very difficult throw. You want that stone to be slow enough to just get over the hog line, keep good separation, and simultaneously fast enough to just get over the hog line. So same drill for Scotland. If any of them can pick off both guards in one shot, they will have the huge appreciation of their teammates. Craig Waddell was awfully close with his first stone, but bigger separation on this pair.
Lane.
Normally plays third stone with his brother Kyle. And just the one again for but critical is we get at least one stone out of the way. Objectives in this extra end, pretty straightforward. Everybody needs to score 1. So the easiest way for Ross Whyte to score 1, what would he like to be looking at with his last stone? He would like to be looking at nothing at all, thank you. That's his easiest way to score 1 point, is no stones in play. And Ross Whyte just has to find a piece of the house for the game. What is the best way for Eve Stalker to score 1 point here? Exactly the reverse. He would rather have a stone as close as he can to centre with maximum guards out front so that Ross Whyte can't get there. And that was a fine throw from Kim Schwaller. Same idea. That guard that just comes over the hog line makes it more difficult to remove both guards in one go. But at some point, it is yellow still lying short. You are going to have to do something about that red.
Aber für das musst du rauskommen. Für das musst du fast rauskommen. Du darfst nicht viel innen sein. Du darfst nicht viel innen sein.
Important decision. But if you've been in the remote club, the virtual club before, you will know that I don't favour jibber jabber.
Ich glaube, es ist 1-3, oder nicht?
By all means, make sure you've made a good decision, but do in fact get on with it.
Ja, aber
I don't think it helps to spend too long not playing, let's say.
ja. Nein, wir müssen es warten. Ja.
A happy little giggle from the skipper there. Ross looking quietly confident, as always.
Het is een beetje enger, aber ist okay.
Kim Schwaller's final
Okay.
throw in this
Dit is
game.
goed. Achtung, Hefti. Niet goed. De bekend
Kim
weer.
also being a super addition to this team.
Is goed.
Joined the team
Right,
last
Kim.
season and really making a difference. And electing to just go for that same shot once more. And to do that 3 times in a row, that is seriously impressive, gang. To get that really long guard just over the hog line. 3 times in a row they did it. Good stuff.
Can we bump her hair inside on the red and just get our T-line?
Almost freeze it inside.
Aye, like try and stay on the red.
I think it's either that or it's a single kill. Whatever one you see better.
I think you try to stay on as much on the red as you can, but on the inside of it.
I think even if you're on nose, you're not bad.
None of these teams have the early draw tomorrow, though. We have 4 games tomorrow. And the first game tomorrow is also at 8 o'clock. But it's the other 2 groups that will be getting up early tomorrow.
Move it. I have to be there to move it. I don't think I will. I like that the way it is. I think it's just going to get in there. That kind of thing.
Final throw of the game for Robin Bryden. Big sweep from both sweepers. I think it's okay. Or maybe just sweeping to try and grab some curl. That's a fine throw from Robin. You can see what was the idea there. He's just changed the angles. And not so easy for that red to come into play now. The red kind of popping out the side a little bit. Not quite so safe as it was before, and the angle a little bit more difficult for Marco Hefty's throws.
Wasn't the best of throws.
Ja, das muss da. Ja, du musst es dünn nehmen. Nein. Selfie, ja. Was hast du? Wie viel? Siehst du es mit 11? Wir müssen 2 drücken. Oh,
Our next round, which will be in about 10 minutes,
ja, es geht
our
ein
featured
bisschen.
game will be Team Hoesli
Spielen es ab
against
mit
Team
12, 11, halb 12.
Muskatewitz. That sounds fun, doesn't it? And our final game this evening is Team Ramsfjell against Team Mouat.
11, halb 12.
And normally,
Ja.
my limit for covering games is about 3 games in a day, but we just can't make up our minds which one of the evening games to follow, so we're going to power through and do them all.
Befinden wir Sie?
So we are down to 4 stones in the extra end, the first extra end of the Baden Masters Tournament 2025 edition. It's our 25th birthday.
Yep. Hard.
Both of these teams have played 2-1-2.
Well.
Oh gosh, that catching far too much curl. And that's a shame. Marco Hefty's played just a superb game. That's a pity for him. He will be looking at something fairly complicated, I think, with his final throw. That's a shame, Marco. He's really made himself proud with this game. I think everyone has. And finally, Whyte can simply remove that pesky guard, and then whatever Marco Hefty does with his final throw, Whyte will have a clear look at it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Clean. Good.
Just a nice, clean removal of that guard. And you can see the difficulty here. You have to do something like that because you have to move that yellow. Or you can, exactly, you can try and outdraw that yellow. You would have to catch about 1/4 of the stone, let's say, in the 1 foot there. I think the problem or the risk with playing on your own red is that whatever you do, you're going to leave both reds open, and that would be a relatively straightforward shot for Whyte to finish the game. Marco standing just beyond the hog line. Just having a look at it.
Yeah.
Two stones to come in the world's longest game. Last throw for Marco Hefty, throwing 4 stones in his new team with Yves Stocker. And what a start he has made in this team.
Yep.
They've won both their games that they played yesterday evening and this morning. And gosh, haven't they come close to winning this game today? All they can do now is just give themselves a chance. Ah, that's a brave throw from Marco. But finally, Whyte not needing to throw his final stone. Goodness me, that is all the curling we could possibly have wanted in our late lunch session. It's definitely close to dinner time. But we say a big thank you to the teams. You will see the ice crew racing onto the ice to prepare for our next round, which is due on at 5:30. We may be a minute or two later, just so that the ice crew has enough time to prepare sheet 2. But come back and join us. That was a score of 1 to Scotland in the extra end. Thank you very much for your company in our featured game. What a tense one that was. Congratulations, Whyte's team. They are qualified first for the quarter-finals. Yves Stocker's team are back on the ice in the final draw at 8:30. Join us then. Bye for now.